Welcome to Two Lies and a Truth. This is episode 99. Woohoo! On the Air Hug Community Podcast. Hello there and welcome or welcome back. If you are new here, this is the Air Hug Community Podcast and I am your host, Judy Arizosa. I am a midlife lady who is someone who loves to share stories from myself and special guests that reflect on just how midlife really goes, not how we think it should go. We talk about the good, the bad, the messy, the ugly, the wonderful, all the emotions. And this is a place where we actually can grow from our experiences. So welcome, I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Okay, somebody pinch me because I cannot believe we are on the cusp of 100 episodes here on the Air Hug Community Podcast. And did you know that we have well over 11,000 downloads? So I would just like to put out a great big thank you to all of you who have been listening right along and sharing the Air Hug Community Podcast. I will tell you that it does mean so much to me. When I started this, I just wanted to have a platform where midlife women could come together and share stories and experiences that would actually help us live better. So anyways, today, what is today all about? Two lies and a truth. This is kind of an episode that has really evolved in my brain, and I've been sitting on it for a little while, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to go about it. But you know, it's interesting because the more time I spend with midlife women, the more things that actually come to me, and I hear things that people actually want to talk about. And once again here, I have to tell you, I have my dogs here, and one is right here jumping on me right now. And first I have to tell him, Opus, we have like 45 minutes before it's time to eat. So you need to sit down and just wait, okay? All right, he's gonna wait, I think. And if not, I'll just have to hit pause and feed them. Have you ever played that game or like as an icebreaker, ever been in an event where you're supposed to guess? People tell you three things and two of them are lies and one is a truth, or two truths and a lie. I forget how it goes. But anyways, I'm going to talk to you today about two lies and a truth. So like I said, the more I get together with midlife women, the more these topics seem to come to the surface. And it's a beautiful thing because it just provides content. It's like, I want to talk about what we're talking about, right? And so here's some things that have been coming up lately. And definitely the first one, I'm going to say what it is, and then I'm going to let you think for it a little bit. Is this a lie or is it a truth? So what am I going to tell you? Okay, spot training. What's your thought on spot training? Do you know what I mean when I say spot training? When someone says, you know, I've got like this fat kind of like under my armpit here. What can I do to get rid of that? What exercise can I do to get rid of that? So that's actually a non-truth because there is no one exercise that will actually reduce some fat in a specific spot on your body. So spot fat reduction is a lie. Well, that kind of stinks, right? Because we all have areas where we probably hold a little bit more fat than maybe what we're thinking we'd like to. You know, and I will tell you, this is the most common question I think I hear, and I'll bet you hear it too in just casual conversations with your friends, right? Women have fat in places like actually on the underside of their arms, the old bat wings, and then there's that part, like I said, under your armpit, but not quite at your breast, where people might call it like side boob, but it's not really breast tissue. And then there's that bra overhang where it spills out over the top of your bra, maybe in back or inside. Then there's the muffin top, belly fat, and saddlebags. Okay, so if I missed any, you can let me know. But our bodies, as amazing as they are completely unique, right? And they hold on to and release fat in unique ways to each of us and differently. And it happens differently during different times of our life, during different stages of our life, and when certain hormones are working in or out of balance with other hormones, and when other certain genes are turned on and off. So that's great, but the question is, I know we typically want to always maybe improve on what we already have, and that's great. There's no judgment there. Listen, all I'd like to say very quickly here is that you can love your body, and I hope that you wholeheartedly love your body, but you can do that and still want to improve it. That's okay. So what do you do if you've got this issue where you just, you're holding fat in some place that you don't want? Well, obviously, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So whatever you've been doing and it isn't working, you can try some other things. The first thing I can tell you is, here's something that you can try. Get as strong AF. Now, you guys know what AF means. I don't really swear that much, but it's as you know what. Okay, get as strong as fuck. Sorry, I really don't say that word, but I don't have to apologize. I really wanted to make a point because we want to do this for multiple reasons. And the biggest reason being that muscle is more metabolically active than fat. So if you work on improving your muscle mass, and this is everywhere in your body, but you could also work on improving it in the area where you have the fat that is bothering you. The only exception to that would be belly fat. You would just work on getting overall strong, or work on the largest muscles in the body, which are the glutes. Those are the buttocks muscles, right? The major, the minor, and major and medius. But anyways, because this just stands to reason, right? If you make the biggest muscles in your body more strong, they're going to be more metabolically active, and they're going to consume more energy at rest. So if you're eating to maintain your previous weight with more muscle, or maybe in a slight deficit, and I really caution people with going too crazy on the restrictive diets, because then that'll backfire, but a little bit in a deficit, then that's going to give you the best option that you can, right? So again, I want you to eat reasonably and not try to grit your way through a terribly hard workout on very little food, because that is going to do the opposite, and you put your body into starvation mode. It's going to make your cortisol skyrocket, and I think we talked about that a couple episodes ago, about how cortisol can actually stress your way fat even if you're not eating a lot. So we don't want to do that. So spot training is not a thing, but you can do your best to improve your overall fitness. And yes, you can also do some cardiovascular training, which of course always burns a lot of calories. What burns more calories though is building more muscle. So you want to do both of them, but you do want to prioritize strength training. Now, number 2. Exercise can earn you food rewards. Lie or truth? That's a lie, okay? And if you're thinking that way, then you are engaging in disordered eating. And this happened to me. I was at a luncheon, and I might have even mentioned this on an episode maybe a month ago or so. But I was at one of those things where women have a lunch. It was like a post-golf event, and I know I gave this example. I took a cookie, and someone was like, oh, well, you earned that cookie because I just saw you. You walked the golf course and carried your bag. And I said, no, I didn't earn anything. I took the cookie because I wanted to eat a cookie. End of story. Like, we don't earn our foods, and we don't punish ourselves by restriction for whatever it is. And we also don't punish ourselves by excessive exercise because we may have enjoyed some delicious food in a quantity that we thought was bigger than what it needed to be. These are all situations that are signs of disordered eating, and they are not healthy, and they can really just get you going down a path that is not good for you. So the bottom line is, food is never earned, and exercise is never a punishment. That is actually what the truth is. So We don't want to look at food as being good and bad and going to work out as being good and bad. That's just not the way it is. Sometimes you make it to work out, sometimes you don't. Yes, you strive to be consistent. There are days when you might need a rest day because you need, well, rest or recovery. There are days when you're hungrier and days where you're not hungrier. And it's not a big deal if you stray a little bit. You don't have to eat the same exact amount of food every single day, okay? Your body doesn't work like that. Your body is in a constant state of flux. You will have hungry days. You will have days when you're not hungry. And yes, you will have days when you're emotionally hungry. That's another story, and there is a way to learn how to figure out what the difference is, okay? All right, now let's move on. Gratitude is just trendy and not significant. Well, that's false. Let's say it in the true way. Gratitude is actually very much associated with life satisfaction, and the benefits of life satisfaction and gratitude and the relationship between the two have been extensively documented. That is our truth. And you know what I'd like to say in regards to maybe you have a fat pocket somewhere, I don't know what the word is, some fat somewhere that you don't like it, getting back to that spot training. See, I'm making this come full circle. But maybe also, let's say you have saddlebags, and you've got a little bit more fat on your upper outer thighs than maybe what you think is attractive. But maybe your legs are super, super strong and they can get you through amazing workouts. What I would like to say is, practice being grateful for the fact that you have legs that can bring you to work out and do what you do. Okay, so let's get back to gratitude because I did a little digging, found some research. You know me, I should have been a psychologist, honestly. This stuff fascinates me. And so I tend to talk about it a lot and think about it a lot and apply it a lot to our real life situations. So maybe you call me an armchair psychologist. I don't know. But I found some work on the reciprocal relationship between gratitude and life satisfaction. And the benefits of life satisfaction and gratitude, like I said, have been extensively documented. They include things like improved mental health, improved physical health, more pro-social behavior, yay, higher quality relationships, and more meaningful lives. So a life satisfaction is a key predictor of well-being, and gratitude is equally essential for practicing to help people flourish. So hopefully I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right? But the research has shown that there is a positive link between gratitude and life satisfaction, and how they relate to each other has really been unclear until recently. So based on some work by this group, Watkins, Woodard, Stone, and Colts, a theory was developed, okay, by this group. And in the Frontiers of Psychology, that's the publication, journal, it says that a reciprocal relationship, it does in fact exist between life satisfaction and gratitude. And they called it a circle of virtue. So I did a little bit more digging, and I wanted to see if gratitude benefited people who were already happy, or if it helped people who were not yet happy but wanted to be. So I found a study that was published in 2017 by Brown and Wong, and what they did was they did something different. Prior to this study, most of the studies on gratitude were done on what I would call well-functioning people who were already happy and content. So these researchers did something a little bit different. They conducted research on but somewhere near 300 adults who were seeking mental health counseling at a university. Some of them were college students, okay, but these participants were recruited before their first session of counseling, and they split them up into 3 groups. All 3 groups did receive counseling services, okay, but the first group was also instructed to write one letter of gratitude each week. And they told them that mailing out the letter was optional, but that they did have to write it. In group 2, the people were instructed to write about their deepest thoughts and feelings about negative experiences. And the third group were not instructed to do any writing at all. They just came to their counseling sessions. Okay, so here's what they found when they compared the groups. Groups 1 and 2, group 1 more than group 2 reported I'm going to get tongue-tied. Here's the word. Group 1 had significantly, there's the word, better mental health at the 4 and 12 week follow-up compared to group 2 and 3. So group 1 were the letter writers, the gratitude letter writers. They found that practicing gratitude and psychological counseling had a greater benefit than counseling alone or than writing about their negative thoughts. So isn't that interesting? So based on this study, they uncovered some psychological benefits of gratitude. And what they did was they poured through the research and the words that people used. And what they found that the gratitude writers chose more positive emotions and more words, positive emotion words and more we words. They had a lower proportion of negative emotion words. These people didn't necessarily, this is interesting, have better mental health later on, but it's only when they used less negative emotion words that they were likely to report better mental health. So the study suggests that maybe the gratitude letter writing people used less negative words, and that's what the difference was. So by shifting their attention away from negative words, they were able to shift away from toxic negative emotions. Isn't that interesting? So it's not so much, it's the fact that they actually didn't use those negative emotions like they did in group 2. All right, another finding they found was that gratitude actually helps even if they didn't share it. And so what it showed was that these people did not have to send the letters, and in fact, only 23% of them did. But those who didn't send their letters, but they wrote the letters, still enjoyed the benefits of experiencing gratitude. So we're saying write it anyway. If you don't want to mail it, don't mail it. The suggestion is that it will help. The next thing they found was that the benefits of gratitude take time. So the benefits from this study showed up more gradually over time. So this was a study that happened over time, right? There wasn't much difference at 1 week. Yes, there was a difference at 4 weeks, but the 4 weeks post letter writing, but the biggest difference came after 12 weeks. So don't be surprised if you don't feel better immediately if you start practicing gratitude and you're like, okay, I did it once. Why aren't I cured? You know, it's a long game. Just like most everything else in life is a long game, right? It's crazy how that works. All right, speaking of that, they did find there were lasting effects on the brain. So they actually did MRI scans of the letter writers versus the non-letter writers. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. What they found is those that practiced letter writing had a greater activation in the medial prefrontal cortex, where and this is where they experienced gratitude. This happened when, not where, but when they actually experienced gratitude in the scanner. So I'm not really sure how they did that, but they had a way to do that. Simply expressing gratitude may actually have a lasting effect on our brain. Yet this isn't conclusive, but it does suggest that practicing gratitude may train our brain to be sensitive to the experience of gratitude later on. So the conclusion of the study was that gratitude does help us appreciate people and the things that we do. So now I have some personal notes that I want to add because this is just my reflections. So my question was, well, what about the receiver of gratitude? I know they talked about maybe they didn't send the letter, but what about, I know we always feel that and we're always taught that it's better to give than receive. And I won't argue them with that, but it is nice for the person who receives it. So if you're giving it to someone, why not do something nice for someone if you are in any way have gratitude for something they did or said, right? So what if you are the giver and the receiver? So what if you find gratefulness in something that you have done? And maybe not the looks of something, but maybe you helped someone, or maybe you, whatever it is, you did something to make your life better. I often will tell people at the end of workout, don't forget to thank yourself for coming today, because a lot of times it's hard to get to workout. Some people love Mondays, for example, and some people hate them, right? Or maybe, people are gung-ho all week long, but by the time Thursday or Friday comes, they don't really want to get to workout. The day when it's hardest to get there, I will say to people, this is the day when you need to thank yourself for getting here and doing the work. And obviously, if you're sick or whatever, you don't have to come. And we have sent people home before if they've been sick. So I just want to, I'm getting off on a tangent, but I don't want to be so strict about, that we always have to listen to our body first and foremost. But there are times, right, when our brain is just totally not buying it. And when maybe it's like going to work, or maybe it's like you got to change your sheets or do some other chore that you don't like doing. Okay, I hate changing sheets. Let's just put that out there, and I have to do it today. But I'm going to do it. So when you appreciate yourself, or appreciate that something that you did, that you had to do, that you had to be responsible for, it's a win-win. So while you think today that our two lies and a truth may be unrelated, the fact of the matter is that I put them together on purpose, because actually they are related, right? The fact that we cannot truly spot train to get results, the fact that that's false is important to note. But it's also important to note that you could do your best to get strong AF, not only in that area, but overall, to give your body the best benefit of all, right? There are so many other benefits besides fat loss for having a strong body. And oh my goodness, we could go into that on and on and on. But one of the biggest things is your risk for getting injured as you age. So, but I don't even want to go there today. We certainly could. If you want to talk about that, again, we can talk about it, because we could really dive into that. But I think that's something that's out there a lot. At least I hope it is. Maybe it's just on my radar, but I hope it's on your radar too. Number two, this whole thing about food as punishment or reward, or or exercise as punishment. We are not, this is not a concentration camp or another situation. We never earn food, and we never punish ourselves with excessive exercise. And I hear a lot of this in social situations. And maybe sometimes women are saying it kind of like laughing, but the fact of the matter is, I think more people believe it than need to. And the thing is, nobody should believe that. Okay? That really is going to get you into a downward spiral of disordered eating. I'm not going to say it would cause an eating disorder, but disordered eating definitely it has a lot to do with restricting and just thinking very black and white, all or nothing. I was either good when I ate today, or I was bad. I was good because I exercised and I lifted all the weight, or I was bad because I slept in. Those things are absolutely not true. In fact, when people text me later and tell me that they slept through a workout, I will actually say to them, your body probably needed the rest. If you couldn't wake up through your snooze alarm 8 times, there's a reason why your body needed to sleep. And you can always exercise at another time, right? And there's no punishment for that. So there's no need to restrict. There's no need to, there's no need to work out extra hard because you enjoyed some food that was delicious and that you wanted. It just doesn't work that way. It sets you up actually for more problems down the road. And I really want to emphasize that point. And our truth is that gratitude and life satisfaction are reciprocally related, and the more gratitude you have and find and consciously look for, the more satisfying your life will be. And now we have research to prove that. And go ahead and practice your gratitude, but you know what? Maybe you don't want to mail a letter. And a lot of people say to me, well, I don't really write it out. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Write it out anyway. I don't care if you write a letter or you write a journal or you write it on a napkin or whatever it is. Write it out and be consistent with it, and you will see the benefits. And remember, you're not going to see the benefit in 2 or 3 days. You'll see some benefit in a week based on this study, more in 4 weeks, and even more in 12 weeks. So be thankful. Mostly, I want to say to start with yourself. Be thankful that you're doing some things to improve yourself. Be thankful that maybe you just did something today that didn't hurt you. Be thankful that, of course we always want to be thankful for things like the roof over our head. And, when I was first starting gratitude practices, I would always be thankful for coffee because it was the time that I was making coffee. But the truth is, my husband laughs at me, the thing I look forward to most in the morning is a cup of coffee. And even today, he said to me, you better sit down and have that coffee before you run out of time. Because I'm that person who will try to do 2 more things and then sit down and have the coffee. And then I look up and it's time to go downstairs and start our session with the clients. But that can happen. So anyways, and right then and there, see now tonight, I'm going to actually write down that I'm really super thankful for the fact that my husband said to me, Judy, stop what you're doing. Remember, you like to have your coffee quietly. Sit down and have it now. So anyways, again, I got off on a tangent, but those are our 2 lies and a truth. And honestly, I want to know what you think about this. Let me know, because I'll tell you, sometimes it's a struggle to be in midlife, and sometimes it's a blessing. And the more often we can see it as a blessing, the more of a blessing it will become for us. So what can you do to feel grateful? And what can you do to pay it forward to someone else? Listen, thank you. Here's my gratitude to you. I really want to thank you for letting me chatter in your ear, for putting up with my little dog issues, and for just being a member of the Air Hug community. So I truly appreciate it. I do love this community, and I can't believe it. Our next episode is episode 100. And I know a lot of people do something fancy smancy for 100. I don't know what we're going to do. I may just get on here and scream in delight and gratitude and say, thank you for hanging on with me for 100 episodes. Listen, I hope you have a great week. And if this episode helped you in any way, please take a screenshot of it and text it to a friend, post it on your social media, send someone an email, let them know that these 2 lies and a truth exist and that they can really help us to live a better life. And listen, come back next week for episode 100. I'm super excited to share our 100th episode of the Air Hug Community Podcast.